I am going to call this meeting to order. It is 5:33. It's a regular meeting of the Morton County Commission. Our first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'm going to do a roll call. Commissioner Morrell. Here. Commissioner Buckley.
Here.
And myself, Commissioner Boehm. The other two gentlemen are not here this evening at this point. I also have Auditor Roan up here at the front. We have State's Attorney Copy and Sheriff Kirkmeyer in the back of the room. Next would be the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Going to be a lot of that tonight.
Yeah.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next will be the approval of the minutes for the previous meeting on February 12th, 2026.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the Morton County Commission meeting minutes for February 12th, 2026.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the Morton County Commission regular meeting on February 12th, 2026. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next we have monthly bills and payroll. Did Commissioner Morrell fill in for Commissioner
Yes,
Kokash?
I went through the bills this afternoon. Everything was in order, so make a motion to approve the bills for the month of February.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the bills and payroll for the month of February. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, I do a roll call vote. Commissioner Morrell?
Yes.
Commissioner Buckley?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, with that, we'll move right into our agenda. Our first item tonight is Mitch Earhart, our Morton Oliver County Veterans Service Officer on out-of-state travel.
It is on. Chairman Boehm, Commissioners, good evening. I'm here before you today to request out-of-state travel to attend the National Association of County Veteran Service Officer Conference. This year it's in Reno, Nevada from May 30th to June 5th. You'll see a very rough agenda attached when I submitted the request. Just as a couple reminders, this attendance at this conference is required to maintain accreditation with the Veterans Administration. Fiscal impact is listed on the sheet and always in our budget, which was approved for 2026. This would make me out of the office just for that 1 week, June 1st to June 5th. And besides your questions, I'm ready to suggested motion.
Mr. Chair, Mitch, do you have the agenda? Because it's not in our packet.
It's not in our packet.
Oh, I absolutely do. Basically starts out with opening ceremonies on Sunday, goes through give or take noon, 1 o'clock on Friday. The way plane tickets are here to Minneapolis, I think to Salt Lake City to Reno, it's something weird. Travel like that, there's 3 legs to that travel.
Who are your primary presenters for that conference? Do you remember?
Normally we get all the bigwigs in the VA, so like the Secretary of the Veterans Administration, the Undersecretary for Benefits. They talk about upcoming things, current status of the VA since 2022 when Congress passed the PACT Act. Their workload has more than doubled. They talk a lot about reducing backlog, processing claims, doing a lot of AI-generated stuff in the VA on the benefit side now, but also healthcare administration. Basically, all the big wigs in the VA show up, and then they also get other presenters talking about different aspects of veteran life.
And we were talking earlier, but again, if you want to just reiterate, what is the typical attendance for county veteran service officers at this conference?
So I believe that there are 32 states throughout the United States that require every county to have a county veteran service officer. So I think it's limited to 550 in-person attendees is what they limit it to. So there's probably 600-700 people there total. I mean, it's a huge operation for sure.
A lot of networking, a lot of direct connections.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you get to talk to how other states do stuff, which is always very informative.
So for those that can attend, is it some virtual sessions as well, Mitch?
They are, yep.
Okay.
But they charge the exact same price for virtual as in person.
Okay.
And you definitely get a lot more out of it in person.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we allow out-of-state travel for a county veteran service officer to attend a National Association of County Veteran Service Officer conference in Reno, Nevada from May 30 through June 5 of 2026.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to allow the out-of-state travel for our county veteran service officer to attend the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers in Reno, Nevada, May 30th through June 5th, 2026. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you very much. I do have one thing.
Sure.
Just to talk about. In accordance with the email that was sent out about the website, to review the website. So Janice and I had some long discussions about whether or not we want a lot of links to VA sites so veterans can possibly just go to the site, fill out paperwork, and by far our overwhelming idea is we do not want them to do that. VA is a very complicated process, probably a couple times a month. I get veterans in the office who try to do stuff themselves through no fault of their own. Something gets messed up, and then we just have to live with the consequences of them doing that. So if I can get them in the office, explain what the rules are, make sure that they understand that before they start the process, we have a lot better luck. So I have reviewed the website, fixed one link to where our location was that apparently wasn't working, and Heidi fixed that lickety-split. And the rest of it's been updated.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you.
Don?
You want to go with Don Rowan first?
Yeah, we can do the appointments. Don, you want to do yours?
I'm just trying to do a little IT work here. My computer's not getting.
Yeah, so then you don't know what you're doing if you don't have your computer, huh? Oh, okay. We can go then.
Okay, so the first abatement that we have up, and the homeowner is here and will wish to address you guys as well on this one. It's abatement 7178. We had it on the agenda for the last meeting, but since the homeowner was not in attendance, that was tabled to this meeting. So there's two sets of numbers here. At the homeowner's request, we did go visit the property, did a reassessment on it. As a result of that, we did agree that the home was overassessed and prepared an abatement to the numbers that we had. The homeowner thought that it should be lower than what we had, so he did have a market analysis done by Century 21, and then prepared his own abatement with the numbers that Century 21 had suggested. On the page 2 there, I won't read through the whole thing, but it kind of gives the analysis I did of that Century 21 study. The biggest thing that I found there was how they were valuing the detached garage or shop, depending on what you want to call it. They have that at $15 a square foot, where on the county side of things, we were at $77 per square foot on it. There are pictures of both the home and that shop attached here. If you're wondering where the $15 per square foot comes from, if you go to the Century 21 and go to the pending sales, which is under my numbering, it's page 12. And I guess I should back up a little bit and talk about sales comparison approach to give you guys some background, because you're going to be hearing a lot about this through this thing. So in the sales comparison approach to valuing a home, you find comparable sales. For the subject property, you don't change anything. You instead make adjustments to those comparable sales that you found, depending on whether they're superior or inferior to the subject property. So you're either going to do plus or minuses to bring those sales in accordance with that subject property. So like in this case, on this pending page, when you're looking at comparable 1 and comparable 2 especially, they don't have a detached garage or a shop at all. So you therefore have to adjust that sale upward to account for the fact that the subject property does have one. And you can see that the number that Century 21 used there is $32,400. So what they're saying there is that entire shop, which is over 2,000 square feet, is only worth $32,400. Our price obviously is substantially more than that. So if you just fix the shop alone, then the Century 21 average that they came up with, which I think was $661,000, which is what the applicant used in their abatement, that would rise up to $700,000 if that was the only thing you fix. So it covers about half of the difference between our numbers and what the applicant is requesting. Now there's other things on the home that I think Century 21 wasn't quite high enough on. If we took, I took the actual sales that they used, not those pending sales, and I adjusted those using our numbers, and that came out to an average of, I'm gonna find the right place here, 746,800 compared to the 661 that Century 21 was using. And the numbers that we're abating the property to would be to 730. So that 746 would be slightly higher than that. I also looked at the comparable sales that they were using and looked at our assessments on those properties compared to what they sold for. And for the most part, we were slightly below the average sales. There's pages where I show you pictures of those houses and their detached garages or shops. And then you can see on those what it sold for and what we had it assessed at. But when I averaged that out, we were slightly less than what they sold for, which is kind of where we want to be. So therefore, I don't think that the approach we're using is substantially overvaluing either his property or any other ones. Those comparable sales that Century 21 used in our assessments on them show that we're kind of right in the ballpark of where we want to be at. So my request would be to support the numbers that the county has, but I will step aside now and with your permission, let the applicant address you.
Any questions for Don before you?
I have one,
Sure.
Mr. Chairman. So the comparable sales homes, are they in the same area? as the house that is in question?
They're not too far away.
Okay,
A couple of them, I know at least one of them was not in what we call Zone 4, which is where the applicant's property
Okay.
is at. It was down on Willow Road, which is in
yep,
Zone
I
3.
saw that, yep,
But they're not too far away.
okay,
So, they're all north of Mandan.
okay, thank you.
Anything else for me? Okay.
Hello there. Yeah, so I guess the original thing that caught my eye is so I received a letter last year.
Ryan, would you just state your name? And
Oh, yeah.
so we know, sorry, because it's on the video, so people know who's
Yeah,
talking.
Ryan Olzer.
Thank you.
So I had received a letter from the county earlier last year that said, they have to inform you that your property taxes are going up. I believe it was more than, if they go up more than a certain percentage, they have to inform you. And similar to the letter we received in 2023, I believe it was, when Zone 4 was reassessed. And so it just caught my attention that it went up another, in 2025, it was going to go up another 30% prior to the already in 2022, it had went up 38%. So I was just curious as to why. I hadn't done any remodeling, I haven't done any additions, I haven't done anything. So it got me to asking around as current or other homeowners in Morton County, and was status quo or even decreasing or a little bit of an increase. So I was unsure of where the increase was on my property. So I contacted a realtor friend of mine, and I told her the square footage of my home, the acreage, where it's located, that it's got a detached shop, and she said, well, I don't think that's even close. So she said, I'll have to do an assessment. She did, and that's what she came up with, was the 600. So then I had brought in all of the homes that have sold similar in the last 2 years to the assessor, and some were newer than mine, some were bigger than mine, some had more square footage, some had more acreage, and they were valued and for sale, and they sold for far less. So I was just curious as to how mine increased so much, and I didn't do anything in the last 13 years since I've lived there. Besides, I built the shop in 2017, which, that was increased at the time. But, so she did the assessment, and she came up with that. Also, she included the similar homes that are valued at far less than mine, and I was just, because I don't know, I'm not a realtor, I'm not an assessor, I don't know. I don't intend to sell my home, I don't intend to look for a new home, but I also know that I can't get, so it was with my home and the extra lot that my shop sits on, it was valued at over 830,000, which isn't even close to where I can get for my home. And I just feel that it's not comparable to the homes that have sold, and it's not comparable to the market analysis that was done. So that's just where I'm sitting. I'm not an assessor or a realtor, so yeah, I don't know. That's all I have.
Okay.
But if you look at the homes, and I wish I would have brought them like I did to him. If you look at the homes that have sold in the last 2 years in Morton County, that are, because my house isn't even 3,000 square feet. Sits on 3 acres. I have a shop, but it's unfinished, and per square foot, that's a lot for a under 3,000 square foot home to be valued at, because with my extra lot and the shop, he valued just my home at 730,000, but my extra lot and shop is valued at 50,000, so 780,000 is still over $100,000 over the market analysis. And I'm not trying to cheat the system or pay less in taxes, I just want the same value as my neighbors and the homes around me.
So where's this 780 coming from, Ryan? Just
Um,
what century, some of the ones that were sold, subject properties, we're looking at anywhere from 640, 626, 661 comparison.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So when the assessors came out, they sent me a letter that stated they reassessed mine. So the decreased value, they brought it down to so it was initially 782,600. So that's just for the lot that my house sits on.
Okay.
And then I have another lot adjacent to it where my shop sits on. So, and then that one is valued at 49,500. So
Okay.
that's those two together. So at the time, it's $830,000 for both properties.
That's where you got it.
Yeah, so then they decreased the one where my home sits on for 730,000, but I still have the other lot valued at 50,000. So that's where I get that 780,000,
Okay.
because that's the total of my property.
So I'm no realtor either, so.
No, and, right, I don't intend to sell my house, it's gone up close to 70% since 2022, so like I said, I asked around, I know lots of people that live in Morton County, and theirs didn't go up. It did, obviously, two years ago, when all of Morton County did, which I didn't complain about that, it's just, I didn't understand why it went up another 30% when I haven't made any adjustments.
Mr. Chair, I got a couple questions that
Mr. Morrow?
probably directed more to Don at the moment.
Okay.
So Don, 2002, was that the year when the state sent that correspondence out to all the jurisdictions? Was that the year that we had to do that adjustment?
Not 2002.
It wasn't
No,
anything.
it wasn't 2002.
2022. I think
22,
you're talking,
yes,
22 to 23.
That- I wrote down
Yeah.
2002.
It wasn't anything the state sent out, but the state Board of Equalization requires us every year to be looking at sales. And if our assessments are falling behind the sales, then we have to increase to come up to those sales.
Right.
So from 22 to 23, yes, we had a big increase everywhere because of what was going on with the sales at that time.
Correct, and that was also not specific to Morton County, correct?
No, I think that was going on everywhere, but I can't attest to what each county would have done there.
Correct.
But from 22 to 23, we saw homes selling for 100,000 more than what we had on them. And so we had to make a big increase, especially around the area of Mandan is where most of that hit. And then a little bit less at New Salem. So.
And the reason why I'm asking the questions is trying to get a little bit more background, Mr. Holzer, as far as where these values would have come from.
Well, I think his
Or the
biggest
increases.
question is why did it go up again in 25? And of course, 25, this area where his house sits is what we call Zone 4. So 25 is when we did Zone 4.
Right.
So it wasn't necessarily about anything he did with the house. It was about what were our records and what did we have to correct to get our records matching what was there at the home.
Right.
So that's why some places didn't go up and other ones went up. Some went down, some stayed about where they were, some went way up. And his was one where we had to make some adjustments that made it go up. Now, some of those adjustments we found out were incorrect. The biggest adjustment we made and why we decreased that 25, or why we're recommending decreases in, is because we put the quarters over his garage in as finished. But in fact, when we went out there and did the site visit, that is an unfinished storage area. There's no heat, there's no air conditioning, nothing in there. You could, if you did some more work, get it there. So we had to adjust that from finished living quarters down to an unfinished area, and that made a substantial adjustment. That was one of the things we fixed in '25.
Right.
Or thought we had fixed. We actually made it worse. So we did get that corrected, and that's why we're recommending the decrease. Now, there was other things too that when we did that site visit that we had to adjust, but that was the biggest part of it.
And then, Mr. Chair, take a little extra time here, but would you want to give just a brief overview of when you referenced the Zone 4, what that means as far as the evaluation of all the properties? How you got that broken down by the zones and why Zone 4, the concentration of homes in Zone 4 versus the other zones?
Yeah, so when I came into this job in 2020, the county really did not have a method for going around and visiting properties. They just kind of did it as they thought it was necessary. But under the standards, you're supposed to visit every property. They say 3 to 6 years, but with the staffing I have, I can't quite get that. So I divided the county into 10 zones. So every year we do one zone. We visit 100% of the structures in that zone, and we look at our records, look at what's there, and make adjustments as necessary. So we started with Zone 1, his is in Zone 4, and that's why this adjustment was there. Now, Zone 4 is by far, from the county area standpoint only, Zone 4 is the biggest by far. It dwarfs all the other cities. In fact, all the cities combined have less residential value than Zone 4 does, except for Mandan. When you throw Mandan in there, then that whole story changes, because Mandan's about 66% of the county for residential. But Zone 4, if you're just looking at the county, Zone 4 is by far the biggest.
And when you say biggest, what do you refer to?
Residential value.
Okay.
As far as number of homes, it actually has less than Zone 5, which is the one we're currently working on this year. But Zone 5 tends to have older residences, where Zone 4 are residences that have been put in since 2000. And so they're still at the top end of their value. They haven't depreciated a whole lot yet.
So in that sense, and again, just trying to bring some information for Mr. Holzer, in that sense, then when you reference Zone 4, it's not an accurate statement, but it would be safe to say that they're in with pure homes, and that's not an accurate statement, I understand that. But as far as age, valuations, comparable size, they're somewhat similar.
Yeah, when you get into size, I would say no. When you're talking age, I would say generally yes. Like I said, most homes up there were put in since 2000. You've got some older stuff up there too that was put in well prior to that. But the vast majority of that growth has been since 2000. As far as size, you're going to have your starter homes that are 1,200 square feet, and then you've got monsters that are up to 6. We even have one that's 10,000 square feet that's up in that zone. So they vary in size quite a bit, and then when you get down by the river, obviously your land is going to be a lot more. When you get away from the river, it's a little bit less. Just depends on where they're at. They're currently selling lots in that new Honey Hill subdivision for $125,000 at the bottom end. So you're starting with $125,000 into it before you even put a structure on it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And again, going back to the 2022 adjustments, that was predicated by the fact that our average sales, how would I say this correctly? Our average sales were far above what we were assessing the values on.
Yeah.
And we were basically instructed to correct that difference.
Yeah, the State Board of Equalization has a standing rule that every county must correct that if they see it. So we have to calculate what's called the sales ratio. So we take our value divided by the sale. You get a ratio from that. If you're below 100%, then your value is far less than the sale. the further away from you get from 100%. If you're over 100%, then you're valuing the property more than what it sold for. So back in from 22 to 23, our median sales ratio, so the one in the middle, was like 78%. And the state requires us to be 92 to 100, so we had to do a pretty hefty increase to get from 78 up to 92. And that's why most places in his area would have saw anywhere from 20 up to 40%. Some even saw more than that.
Right.
But like I said, again, the 30% he's talking about in 25, that was purely due to the reassessment. It wasn't a market. Market was about 3 to 4% in that area for that year. But when we corrected details, that's why his home went up more than what the others he talked to would have gone up.
Thank you. And again, Mr. Holzer, appreciate you being here, but I hope that this gives you a little bit more background as where those values came from, those increases would have come from as well.
Yeah, no, I have, actually off your guys' website.
Sure.
Can I stay?
Yeah.
I printed out from the Zone 4 reassessment results, which shows a chart of the values increased. Greater than 10%, 20% of the properties did. The values increased less than 10%, 37% did. No change in value, 20%, and the values decreased at 22%. So it seems pretty all around neutral, except for mine that went up 30-some%, which I get that, in 2022, I didn't even bat an eye, I didn't even come to the commission meeting, I didn't even complain about it, but I didn't do anything in the last year, so. And at the bottom, it says reassessment isn't about raising revenue, it's about keeping property values fair and accurate based on the real estate market. These updates ensure everyone is contributing their fair share and no more. I mean, that came straight off the website, your guys' website. And again, that's why I had the market analysis done, real estate, just to see what my house is actually worth. So I feel they're still over $100,000 higher than the real estate market, so I don't feel comfortable with that. And it's just, I don't know how my house came into that one. Is it just drawn out of a hat? Is it, because I didn't do anything. So, anyway, that's all I have.
Commissioners have any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, another question for Dawn. As far as the shop square footage, again, Mr. Holzer, just edification, I built a shop some years back too, and same story where the realtors will only value it at so much, which kind of frustrating because you put a little bit more into it than what you thought and they only value it. So when you look at the shop valuation on the county side, how do you justify that 77 per square foot versus where the realtor was looking at $15 per square foot?
Well, realtors and appraisers hate outbuildings. That's why they will lowball those, and why you typically will see that $15 per square foot. If you remember a few years ago when Mr. Frank appealed his, that was the contention there as well, as his appraisal undervalued that shop by quite a bit compared to what the city had on it. So when we do our valuations, we rely a lot on our software vendor, but we're always, as far as the base prices, but we're always calibrating that to the sales. So we'll enter the details in there, and then we'll look at the value that we have compared to the sale, and then we'll increase or decrease areas and other factors till we get to those sales. So we only start with those base prices that they have, and they've done their research on what it takes to build a shop or a detached garage, what goes into that and how to value that. And then, like I said, we then will take that and calibrate it to the sales. So we're always calibrating everything we do to sales, so that we're hitting those sales, because that's what the state wants us to do, is we need to hit the sales as best we can. So it's a volatile market, so you're not always going to hit the sales. If you look at those three I did, we were low on one, we were about even on another, and we were a little bit over on the third. Averaged out to where we were pretty much spot on with them. And that's what you're going to see overall. I mean, we're going to hit every single sale? No. We're going to sometimes be low, we're going to sometimes be a little bit high. Whenever we see a sale, we do look at it to find out why are we off when we're low or high. To see if there's some details we miss, because the goal is to get those details correct in our system. And we'll hear, I hear that a lot from homeowners, well, I didn't do anything, why are you going up? It's not about what they did or didn't do. It's about what was in our records, and was that right or not? And if we have to correct some stuff, obviously there's going to be either a decrease or increase on that home.
This is the third one.
Yep.
It's bigger in acreage though.
Yeah.
That's the catch. That's the only thing with it. These two are way smaller.
And in my case, Mr. Olzer, I built in 2008, did the shop approximately 7 years ago, 5 to 7 years ago, I don't remember exactly. But I'm in zone 5, so I'm going through that adjustment right now too. And he's come out, or the staff has come out and did some assessment. There's been some changes made on mine. I haven't seen the results on it as yet. But I know that it's just what the office does do, trying to keep the records correct. And we've discovered there are some errors in the records, which unfortunately, it causes an impact for that property owner.
I don't just,
Yeah.
I understand that it's their job, it's just, it states on their website, it should follow the real estate market, and I guess that should follow the real estate market. And that's actually, so I built my house in 2013 and the shop in 2018. And so similar to yours, did your home go up 70%?
At a minimum, I mean, from the beginning of construction to where it's at now.
Oh, just in, because it was at 620, which was good. and
Well,
now 35%, so.
I just pulled up on my tax records right now, paying, it skewed a little bit because again, what the county's charged with levying the taxes. However, other entities are also charged with assigning levies, mills within your tax statement. It just, the county takes the heat for it, schools, so all that can impact your tax statement. And Don, correct me if I'm speaking out of turn here, but those impact onto the tax statement, bringing that bottom dollar. And many people, and I'm classifying generalities here, many people just look at that bottom dollar without looking at where all the entities are, where they're taxing through or what level they're taxing through. But in my case, I'm going off of a 17-year history. 17 years ago, I was paying a little under $2,000 in property taxes. Now I'm paying just shy of $6,000.
I know, I'm referring to the property value.
Yes. Yeah, property value, again, same story. It's a double-edged sword. We want our property values to increase, but when we're complying with state law as far as how to assess based on what state law says, that's where the other edge of that sword comes back on us, because we end up having to pay taxes accordingly. Unless the law were to change for property taxes, but that's where we are at currently. The valuations is what I'm saying.
I can't make a motion, so. Do we have any other questions or a motion? 'Cause I can't make the motion, so. Or a motion.
So it's just a question, Don, it's for 730,900, is that what we're?
That's the county proposal for the lot where his house sits.
Okay,
Like he said, he does have a second lot that is another 50,000, so he is correct. The total assessment for both lots would actually be 780, but the only one we're abating is the one where his house sits on.
okay. So we're not abating the one where the shop and the extra,
Right now, the county, for 25, the county had the shop incorrectly assessed on the same parcel as his house. So that's why we're focusing on that one. For 26, we are moving that shop over to the correct parcel. It won't change the value on the shop, it'll just move that value over to that other parcel.
So they'll split.
Yeah. So that's why we're focusing just on his house parcel, because that's where right now the county has all, for 25, where the county has all the buildings assessed is on that house parcel. We just have a vacant lot for the one next door.
And this is addressing 2025.
Yes.
With them being combined, excuse me, combined.
Correct. Yep.
When Century 21 did their analysis, they did it on both lots combined together. So when they're talking 661, that is for his house parcel and the lot next door.
They
Altogether.
combined them.
Yeah. Where the county has 730 on the house parcel and then 50, just under 50 on the other one for the 780 that Mr. Holsworth threw out.
so this has, does this have the option to go to the State Board of Equalization again?
Well, we're not talking a Board of Equalization appeal at this point in
Okay,
time.
all right,
So
That
this
was-
is an abatement.
Yep.
So the state board would not be an option right now,
okay,
but Mr. Holzer for 2026 absolutely could walk through the process and end up at state if he wanted to go there.
okay.
Because this one's already
This one's for
beyond the
beyond that,
dates.
right?
Beyond all the
Alright.
deadlines, so you kick in the abatement to take it off of what you had. Yep.
So he would have to first come to the County Board of Equalization on June 4th, and then from there he could go to the state. And we'll send it, we have to send a notice to everybody now, so we will be sending him a notice with his 26 value, and then those dates would be on that notice for the county and the state.
Yep.
This is, Wondering,
No. Yeah, those dates all closed already for
yep.
the timeframes. Certain days.
So Mr. Holzer is asking for less than the 730,000 then?
661.
He's asking for what then? 661?
His would be the 661 that the realtor had, yes.
This 661, 673?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that should be, if you have the abatement form in front of you, that should be what's on there. I didn't put the abatement in the packet. It was from the last meeting.
Jackie, it's right here. Is this one?
But he's asking for the value that Century 21 came up with, which was 661,000.
Okay.
And you guys are at 739. It's right here.
The 730,900, you mean?
Yep.
Yeah, they said 739, I'm like, I didn't think we were that high.
No,
Yeah, 730,900. Plus, like I said, that vacant lot is another 49 or 50,000.
For next year. That 730 is figured together, right?
No,
It's
the
not.
730 is only on the house. The vacant lot next door is another 50. That's why he was saying total is 780.
Okay, now starting to make more sense. This is round and around.
Yeah, there's a lot of numbers.
Okay.
But Don, again, making sure we're clear here, so right now for 2025, the shop is assessed on the same parcel as the house is.
Correct.
Okay,
And the lot next door is what we consider a vacant
vacant
lot.
lot.
But in actuality, the shop does sit on it.
correct.
But
So
as far as our assessment, it's a vacant lot and the house.
So in 2026 numbers will be better reflected of the way the properties are built out.
The shop will move over to
Yeah.
what is currently a vacant lot, yes.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion, that would keep the valuation or the abatement of 7178 for 2025 at the $730,900, based on the information that's provided of the valuation of the shop and the house being conglomerated on that one parcel. This is extra language for the motion, but short story is, keep the abatement for 7178 at the valuation of $730,900 as recommended by the tax assessor's office.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
making
The
sure.
other one just,
Okay.
It sounded like he was gonna say some more, so
nope.
A second.
sure, I'll second it, Mr. Chairman.
It's been moved and seconded to, as stated in the motion, for abatement 7178 to prove as the assessor's, tax assessor's value of 730,900. Is there any discussion?
And just to clarify again, it's because at 2025, the numbers, as you mentioned, it combines the shop, rightfully or not, it just combines the shop with the house, which kind of enhances, is showing it as all on one developed parcel. And that's where I'm leaning on keeping it that way, but again, looking at 2026, where the records are getting corrected. But again, the property owner has the right to come back on the Board of Equalization and once the valuations come out.
Being taxed this 50.
Correct.
For this.
And you should see a corresponding decrease on the house
It's
where
a
the parcel
vacant
sits and a
lot.
corresponding increase on the other
Tax is a
parcel.
vacant lot.
Right.
as a result
So
of
whatever
moving
that
that jump
value
over.
is, I'm
They might not
sure.
be exactly equal to each other, but they should be in the ballpark of each other.
He's saying it is.
Yeah, you're still gonna be around that 780,000, but I can't speak to where we're at for 26. We're working on the numbers right now that we've got all the sales in. So I don't know where the final figures are gonna be at, but if we were talking 25, it'd be about 780,000 total for the two parcels together.
Okay.
So the shop then is not, is that taxed as a vacant lot then? Is
The
it-
one, the
no,
one where
in
the shop is
2025.
supposed to be is, yes, taxed as a vacant lot today.
So what's the taxes on that then?
It's around 50,000 true and full, so I work.
That's
in
without the shop.
Working the math, it's about $500 approximately in property
Yeah,
taxes.
sounds about right.
Okay.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
You know, it's amazing, once you just put a foundation on a vacant lot, how much that changes the value. Good or bad, it just amazes how much it changes the value.
We discount vacant lots by 20% because of the fact that you've got to get the electricity and water from the edge to the house, you got to put in a septic system, all the things you need to do to build a house or even a shop requires some of those same things. So we discount them 20%, and that 20% is when all those things are in there, and then we bring it up. So yes, as soon as you put a building on a lot, value goes up on that lot, on the land, in addition to whatever the building is.
Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for coming, though.
All right, and we just got two more abatements to deal with. You gotta get down to page 15 in my packet. Pause a second for everybody to get there. So these both come from the city of Mandan. They're abatements 7185 and 7186. These are for two parcels that the county seized for tax purposes and then deeded over to the city in 2025. So now the city is the owner of these two, and since the city is exempt from property taxes, they're abating the value off on these to bring them to zero. Now, the city did pay both of these bills, so if these abatements are approved, there would be a refund to the city.
Keep it.
Part of that refund will, of course, be the city's own taxes that they paid to the county.
Just keep it. Okay.
Mr. Chair, make a motion to approve abatement number 7185 and 7186 for the purpose of a political subdivision.
Second.
Being exempt.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ray.
You can-
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve abatement 7185 and 7186 for 2025 due to political subdivision ownership by the city of Mandan. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don. I'm sure I'll hear from Jim Newbar saying, no, you can't keep it.
I'm sure you will.
All right. Don,
First on the
is your
agenda
IT
here.
finished over there?
No, it's
fixed?
broken. I don't know. It's a tangled mess of cords down there.
Uh-huh.
We have an appointment to the School Reorganization Board just in time because we actually have a hearing for someone who wants to annex or move their property from the Mandan School District to Sweetbriar coming up in April, so.
Perfect.
So in your packet is the application from Jeff Lind, and this is for an unexpired, well, it's just been vacant, so I mean, it's a position, it's a term that expired last year, actually, and we've had no one
No one
to
to
fill
apply.
it. So this is a 3-year term, but it expires June 30th of '28.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a full 3-year term. So, is there anyone online, Wendy? Just in case they want to say something. Security and CAFWare.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we appoint Jeffrey Lind to the School Reorganization Board with a term ending June 30th, 2028.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Jeff Lind, excuse me, to the School Reorganization Board for appointment, the 3-year term expiring 6/30/2028. Is there any discussion?
Just commenting on what he submitted for information on himself, is obviously he's got a little bit of knowledge in schools' activities.
State Board of Public Education, so. Okay, any other discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
The next one is to the Hebron Planning and Zoning for the extraterritorial representative, and on the very last page of your packet is a letter of application from Christy Krenzel of Hebron.
So is this a new,
Well,
do you know if this is expired or?
I don't think Hebron really had, their planning and zoning doesn't meet very often,
Okay.
especially for extraterritorial, well, I guess it wouldn't matter, but I don't know. They were mass confused and I knew nothing about it, and so I talked to the auditor and their city attorney, and they just asked that we appoint someone to it. And so it says 5-year term expiring 12/31 of '30.
This is the Hebron Planning and Zoning Extraterritorial Zone.
Right, so it's City of Hebron's Planning and Zoning Board, but this is the extraterritorial position that the county,
They're a member of
Can
the
appoint.
P and Z and Hebron then.
because they have a ET zone,
Mm-hmm.
which is,
Okay.
I don't think this lady lives in the ET zone,
That's why
but
that was one of my
I don't
questions.
think there's hardly anybody that does live in the ET zone, and it sounds, from what I heard, she had been serving on the board, but we never appointed her.
Well, and I'm wondering how we appoint the extraterritorial one for Hebron.
Well, we do for Mandan, too.
Yeah, we
Okay,
do,
yeah,
yeah.
that would be right.
Mhm.
It's not, yeah, it's not theirs,
Yeah.
but it sits on their board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we appoint Christy Krenzel for a 5-year term to expire 12/31 of 2030 for the Hebron Planning and Zoning Extraterritorial appointment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Christy Krenzel to the City of Hebron Planning and Zoning Extraterritorial appointment for a 5-year term expiring 12/31 of '30. Is there any discussion
Chairman, I will add that we did advertise this
for them?
for them, and, I mean,
Okay.
this is the only applicant we got, so
Okay.
if you can't get anybody that lives in that ET zone to apply, I mean,
Yeah.
she lives very close to it, I guess.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. That's all you had, Dawn?
Yep.
Okay. Next on our agenda is our public comment period as required by North Dakota Century Code 44-04-20.1. It is 6:32 PM. I will open that public comment period. I think there's nobody in the room other than our tax assessor unless he has something to say. And online, I think all we had was security and we had a KFWare representative. So is there any public comment from online? Any public comment from online? And any public comment from online? Seeing none, and there's nothing in the room, I will close the public comment period. It is now 6:33. Any commissioner have anything else good for the order?
Mr. Chairman, I guess I would like to thank everybody that has sent me get well cards with my recent surgery. I'm up and about again, so things are going well.
Good. Good to see you back.
Glad you have it back. And your driver here too.
Yep.
He bailed on you, though.
I don't think he went very far.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We're good. Motion, we are adjourned.